Bonjour Year 10, Miss Bishop here. Right, I figured we'd go a bit off-piste today, and rather than doing hazards as we've been doing, we really need to cover Rio, London, your urban case studies. So what I want you to have a look at for me is some of these keywords, pause them, pause the screen, and you need to be able to get these answers down. Okay. You need to know what urban means, what rural means, what urbanisation means, what migration means, what deprivation means, what infrastructure means, and what urban sustainability means. Okay? Have a go at finding those out. Right, so what are the factors that affect urbanisation? So these are going to be your push and your pull factors. Okay, so what I want you to do is think about reasons why people might move to a town or city and why people might move away. Okay, so can you get down a couple of points for me? So you've got here potentially jobs. Okay, you've got food. And you've got sort of people not having jobs, so they might need to move to another city. So it might not necessarily be moving from, say, the countryside to a city or from the city to a countryside. It might also be moving from one city to another city. Okay, so can you please just come up with some ideas for some push and pull factors? Remember, your push is the reason why you're leaving somewhere, and your pull factor is a reason to move somewhere. Okay, so pause the screen, have a go at doing those for me. Right. Explain how natural increase and migration lead to the growth of an urban population in less developed countries. Okay, so as you can see, I've left this from when I did it as a lesson, but natural increase, okay, is your death rate, your birth rate minus your death rate plus your migration. Okay, so it's basically how many people you have. Okay, once everyone's been born and once everyone's died and once everyone's moved to the area. Okay, so explain how natural increase, so how if you've got more babies being born than people dying, you're going to have more people. So if you have, say, 100 babies born and only 50 people die, you're going to have a natural increase of 50. Okay, so why in less developed countries, so poorer countries, LICs, why are they going to have more of an issue with a rising population? Think maybe what they might lack or have less of with regards to maybe education, contraception, things like that. Okay, so have a think about that. Write up an answer. Send it in to me because some of them have been really, I've seen such an improvement in some of your work. It's been amazing. So thank you very much for some of you putting in such hard effort. Okay, and they might be migrating due to maybe there's a war, maybe they can't find any work, maybe they've had some social issues there as well. So that's why people might move. So here you might get given a graph. Okay, most of your, I think nearly half the paper last year was graphs and things like that. So you need to be able to describe the pattern shown in the graph. So what is the pattern? Okay, well, we can see that we've got red is rural, blue is urban. Okay, so the top layer is your rural, so your countryside population, and your urban population, your town or city population is blue. Okay, so describe the pattern. Well, you've got different continents here. Okay, different continents. Explain the differences in rural and urban population. So you can see in North America, most people live in the towns or cities. In Latin America, so that's Central and South America, you have got most people, 80%, living in the towns. In Europe, you've got 73% of people living in towns and cities. Africa, more people live in a rural population. And in Asia, more people live in a rural population. Okay? And number 2, identify the continent with the largest rural population. Well, which country has the largest rural population? Okay, so have a little think about that. Okay, so pause the screen, answer those questions, and then come back. I'm going to skip past this one. Skip past this one as well. Right, so Stratford. Okay, Stratford, London is your case study about urban regeneration or a UK city opportunities and challenges. Okay, so anything to do with a UK city, you are going to use Stratford, London, okay, where the Olympics was. Okay, East End of London. Okay, so that is your case study for UK. So, London, why is it important? Okay, why is it important? What is the impact of migration? So what is the impact of people moving from different countries into London or from different areas of the UK into London? Okay, some of you have already answered that. It will improve diversity. It will bring in different foods. It will bring in different sort of things like festivals, different religions, different languages, everything like that. It becomes like a melting pot. Why is London important? Because it's our capital city. What are the opportunities there? So think about jobs, think about education, think about healthcare, think about freedom and rights. Okay. What are the challenges? Well, it's expensive. Okay, it's very expensive. And actually, once the work's happened, some of it's only short term, so it might dry up. Crime. London has a lot of crime. Okay, and then think about regeneration. What does regeneration mean? If you're regenerating on, say, like a video game, you're kind of coming back from the dead, aren't you? Yeah, so regeneration is about taking somewhere that's really not very nice, spending some money on building it up, making it better, and hopefully improving it. Okay, so you're regenerating it, making it better. Okay, so what I want you to do is ignore the bronze, because obviously I can't get you the worksheet because that would require you printing stuff off, and I didn't want to do that for these lessons. So I want you to state 2 reasons why London is important. I want you to state how migration might affect London, explain 2 opportunities, 2 challenges, and using an example, explain how one place is regenerated. So I want you to take Stratford, which was originally quite a rough area of London, quite deprived. They decided to build the Olympics there. They spent loads of money doing it up, and now that area has benefited from it quite a lot. Okay, so have a go at doing silver. Pause the screen, write out your answers, and then join me in a second. Right, that's the end of that PowerPoint. So now we will go. I know I've gone through these quickly, but we'll go through them again later on. You will have done it already, so we will just go through these things again. Okay, so what we're going to have a look at now is Curitiba and Rio. Okay, so we looked at London. You're now going to look at Curitiba and Rio. If you need to brush up on these, we can certainly go through these in a bit more detail, but certainly with like the London Olympics, you can find so much stuff about that area because it is local. You could just have a look on YouTube, on the internet. BBC News will have loads of articles on it. Okay, if you need to build up that depth of knowledge. So the keywords that you'll need to know as well here is transport strategy, regeneration, which you've already looked at, congestion, multiculturalism, and green belt. Okay. So, urban transport strategies. What's happening in London? Now, you can use London for an urban transport strategy, or you can use Curitiba. I would probably use Curitiba because you can explain it in more depth because the bus system is so good. But if you forget and you go, oh my God, I can't remember it, and you come out with London, then certainly you can use things like Boris bikes, those Santander bikes. You can use the tube, you can use buses, you can use like Oyster cards and things like that. So we'll go through it. Just don't use HS2 because HS2 hasn't been built yet. And when they created the spec for this, HS2 was going to be built, and now it's come to a halt. So don't use it, please. They don't like it because you can't say how it's benefited an area when they've only built like a tiny little bit of it. So what's happened in London? You've got the congestion charge. So you pay to go into central London. They're those signs with the big C on. I think it's like a red C, or it's like a black C but with a red background or something like that. A congestion charge, I think it's like £13-15, something like that. You have to pay that every single day to go into London. Low emission zones, so there are certain areas where you can't drive your cars and things like that. They're hoping that the congestion charge will help with that. They've got lots of cycle areas, okay, so you can use your bike pretty much anywhere in London. They've got cycle lanes. You've also got bus lanes and things like that. Buses are really quite efficient in London. They come very often. So you're better off actually getting an Oyster card and using the bus over driving. I mean, I've been driving like, what, 14 years now, and I could not think of anything worse than driving through London. I don't even think I'd cope. I mean, I just wouldn't cope. You know what I'm like when I have a meltdown. It would be awful. So definitely buses and the underground. I mean, sometimes it's quicker to walk, but the underground's so efficient. Okay, so you can use that. You've also got the Boris bikes as well, which means that you just pay. You pick one up, you cycle it around, and as long as you can find another empty bike space, which is purposely for those Santander bikes, you can just put it back wherever. So you don't even need to take it back to the place where you picked it up from. You can just drop it off at the nearest station, just so you can get, I think you pay a deposit, and then you just get that back, or I think. I haven't actually ever used one, but you don't have to drop them off at the same place. Okay. So in Curitiba, what we've got is a bus system. Okay. Their bus system, all right, is very, very efficient. You have different routes for buses. They're color coded. So you have some that go round in a circle, which do like districts. You have some coming from the outskirts into the center. So we're kind of building up like a spider web of bus routes. If you think you've got the spokes on a wheel for the ones coming out of the city, and then you've got circles going in that to make that kind of spiderweb shape. And then also you're going to have feeder buses, which might come off of one circle and join into another one. So basically, you can get off at interchanges, but the bus doesn't stop. It will just keep going until it gets to an interchange. So the buses are quicker. The bus, where you get on and off, one side people get on, the other side people get off. So it's very quick. You pay for your ticket before you get on. And also the buses are kind of, the bus stations are like raised up slightly, so you can just get on it very, very quickly. It's very cheap to use. It's cheaper than driving. The buses have their own road system, so they don't have to wait. It's not like they can get stuck in a traffic jam because the bus route, the bus lane. Whereas in London, you've got bus lanes, but then sometimes they have to join in with regular traffic. Whereas in Curitiba, they have their own central, bus lane, so they are just free to go. And they also have those bi-articulated is like a bend in it. Bi-articulated buses. Now these can carry like up to 4,000 people an hour, like just around the city. So you imagine how many people can get moved around throughout the day. It's like millions. Okay, so you can really move a lot of people with these buses because these buses are huge. Okay, they're really, really long, really, really efficient. And you can pretty much go anywhere for a same price, just a flat rate. Okay, so that's why the buses are so good in Curitiba and why everyone uses them. Okay, so I want you to have a go at this question. Describe 2 methods used to reduce traffic congestion in urban areas. So we've just spoken about those. You could talk about London, you could talk about Curitiba. It's only 4 marks, so you just want to describe them. Okay, so you don't need to go into too much detail, but you can pick one from London, one, and then talk about the buses in Curitiba briefly if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Okay, there is some sentence starters if you need them. So pause the screen here. Right. Now, this graph here, describe the pattern of air pollution in the figure below. Now, you can see here 12, 10, 8, 7, 7, 5, 6, 5. Okay, you can see those numbers 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 7, 7, 5. Okay. Isoline, so all of this area here would be an 8. All of this area here would be a 10. It's like a contour line on a map. So 1 is low. So out here, 5, it's lower. Then 12 is the highest. Then here, Oxford Circus. Okay, so I want you to describe the pattern. Where is it highest? And then how does it kind of radiate out? It's only 2 marks. Okay, so you want to give me the Oxford Circus has the highest level at 12 units. And then as you move out, approximately kind of every 250 to 500 meters, it will slowly go down, and its lowest, you could probably pick like just off, what does that say, Brook Street, or just near Wigmore Street. Okay, you can pick some places. Okay, so have a go at doing that question as well. Right. A survey measured the quality of life in 3 different areas within a city in a more developed country. So it might be London, might be New York, might be Los Angeles, somewhere that's quite rich. The figure below gives the information about the areas studied. Okay, so you've got area A. It might be like that might be the centre, that might be like the outskirts, and that might be just like your suburban area. I don't know. It's just a general. They don't give you the specific. It's just 3 different areas. So the quality of housing. So you've got 3, 9, and 7. So obviously inner cities might be A has the lowest quality of housing, B obviously has the highest, and then 7. Level of income. So 3 is obviously the poorest area, 10 is the richest area, and C is middle. Personal safety. So 2. So there might be high crime or muggings or anything like that in area A. Area B has very high, and Area C is kind of okay, and the air quality. So Area A has a very low air quality, so it might be quite polluted, dirty. Area B has 9, so it might be on the outskirts where the air is cleaner, and C is in the middle. Okay, so I want you to describe and explain how a redevelopment project could improve the quality of life in Area A. So I want you to think, how could you redevelop Area A to make it better? So you'd need to increase like the quality of housing. You might want to build some businesses there to be able to give people the chance to get a job. Maybe transport links aren't very good. Maybe there's no buses or trains there, so they might need to think about that. Personal safety, maybe you might want to put up some security cameras or have police nearby. Air quality, you might want to put up some green areas, some urban greening on the ceiling of somewhere to kind of create that cleaner air so the pollution isn't very bad. Okay, so have a think about that. This is where you need to think outside of the box and think, if I lived in a rubbish area that was dirty, there was high crime, there was poor housing, and it just wasn't very nice. What would I do to improve this area? Basically, you have an infinite amount of money. Okay, I'll be generous here. You've got whatever money you want. Okay, you'd have to do it on a budget. But I want to know how you would do it. So describe what you would do and say why you are doing it. Okay, describe and explain. Okay, so have a go at doing that. And then I want you to think about Rio, so the Rio case study. So how can I apply that to 6 and 9 markers? So Rio is going to give you 6 and 9 markers. Okay. I'm aware I'm rushing through this. I just don't want it to be a really, really long video. So I want you to create a mind map. I want you to think about opportunities of Rio and the challenges for Rio. Okay. It might be easier to think of your challenges first. So we've got things like crime, drugs gangs rule the favelas in Rio. Poor water supply. Favelas are illegal. They're not permanent structures. They don't have water. Likewise for electricity. You'll see loads of people sharing someone's electricity because they're illegal. They're not built to last. So they don't have any electricity or very little. Education. There aren't many schools and the level of education is poor. Healthcare. There's not going to be a hospital on the middle of a hillside in a favela. Okay. You would need to go into the town. It might not be free. Okay. It might cost money. The houses as well. The houses are made of makeshift things. They're made of corrugated iron, of loose bricks, of things like that. So how are they going to overcome these? Okay. And opportunities. Well, if you get good employment, so if you get good education, so say that your children start to get a decent education because they improve schools in the area, they train up more teachers, they employ more teachers, so every child gets a decent level of education like you get in this country, you can then ensure that they are going to be able to apply for better jobs. Okay, if you don't have a good level of education, it doesn't mean going to university. It doesn't mean anything like that. But you need to be able to read and write, and you need to be able to be good at something in order to, when you go to your job interview, to be able to showcase that. Okay, that's the aim of the game. When you go for a job interview, you need to be the best person there. So if the level of education allows those children to be able to get jobs, they will then be able to potentially move out of those favelas and into somewhere with a more rigid structure in a nicer gated, more safer community. By employing more security and police officers, it can keep the drugs gangs under control, so there'll be less crime, less murders. There is a lot of crime going on in Rio. By laying down fresh water pipes and things like that, you're allowing people to have fresh water, so they don't have to drink dirty, polluted water. And providing health kits in people's homes, or providing like pop-up like Station Plaza, where you just kind of have a drop-in centre, places like that. It means then if people do get ill, they have somewhere to go that's nearby, and they don't have to worry about it costing loads of money trying to get to a main hospital, because they might be given like a first aid kit in their home, or their next door neighbour might have a first aid kit, so they might be able to do something at home rather than having to have that long, potentially dangerous route to find a hospital. Okay, so these are your opportunities. So what are the good things that they can provide versus the challenges? So how are they going to overcome them? So it's easier if you come up with the challenges first, because then the opportunities will be your way that they overcome it. Okay, so have a write-up of everything that I've just gone through with you. If you can come up with any more, that's perfect. And then I want you to finish off this answer. Okay, so to what extent, so how far do urban areas in LICs or NEEs have more opportunities and challenges? Okay, so basically what you're saying is, how far does Rio de Janeiro, have more opportunities, so more good things than bad things? You might actually think there's more bad things, that's fine. You then say, I don't think, okay, or to not a great extent. If you want to have a go at doing this one instead, to what extent does Rio de Janeiro provide social and economic opportunities for people? You can think about that. So social, meaning education, healthcare, economic is jobs. Stuck, you could get 4 out of 6 if you write about some opportunities. Then write about the challenges. That's your 6 out of 6. Okay, so have a little think, have a go at that question. If you're doing the top one, it's going to be 9 marks. If you're doing this one, it's going to be 6 marks. Okay? End of the slideshow. So what I will do is any questions you want me to answer, send them through. But other than that, I will speak to you all soon. Bye.